This man had a penchant for having affairs with married women. He even planned to run away with one, but tragically, she met with an accident. Just a few months after her death, he became infatuated with her best friend. For Ha-won, all the inspiration in his life came from this married woman. Ha-won is an AI programmer, and he developed an intelligent conversation device with the same name as himself. The Ha-won device isn't just a typical artificial intelligence, it contains Ha-won's genuine personality and emotions. But since starting the research and development, Ha-won hasn't been able to find the device's trigger point, preventing him from initiating a conversation with it. One quiet afternoon, Ha-won was walking down an alley when he heard beautiful piano music coming from a red brick house. The house was a vintage recording studio. Before him stood a woman in a red sweater, cleaning the room. It was the first time Ha-won met a Seo-woo. Seo-woo revealed to the stranger that the owner was about to close down the recording studio. Looking at the piano, Ha-won recalled a scene of playing music with his first love. As he prepared to leave, the device suddenly reacted and hummed a tune, while there was thunder outside. The Ha-won device finally spoke, prematurely making people feel troubled. In that moment, Ha-won realized the trigger point of the device. Back home, he placed the device by the window so it could hear the thunder outside. Sure enough, the device began to reminisce based on Ha-won's voice. It even remembered that it was an evening as dark as night, and yet Jae-soo was very afraid of thunder. Jae-soo was Ha-won's unforgettable first love. Ha-won believed that thunder was the device's trigger point, but he felt very sad because the device's trigger point meant that he still longed for that unattainable girl. Feeling down, Ha-won visited his relative, Soon-ho. Years ago, after his mother passed away, Soon-ho's grandmother adopted Ha-won, and Soon-ho called Ha-won uncle. For the past few years, Soon-ho has been running a farm with a plantation. Now, Soon-ho told Ha-won that he was tired of life on the farm and wanted to ask his uncle to recommend him for a job. Seo-woo thought about the device that had just triggered its trigger point, and Ha-won also came up with a plan. He intended to buy a recording studio to capture and collect Jae-soo's voice in order to conduct secret tests on the device. The recording studio that caught Ha-won's eye was the red brick house he had seen that day. He called Soon-ho to manage the recording studio. He also needed a professional recording engineer. Thinking of the girl Seo-woo he'd met at the recording club, Ha-won decided to invite Seo-woo to work as a recording engineer in charge of collecting Jae-soo's voice. Hearing that the recording studio had been bought, Seo-woo asked the manager Soon-ho to let her stay and continue working there. As Ha-won suspected, Seo-woo was a classical music recording engineer. Soon-ho agreed to let her stay and told Seo-woo to buy some dishes for him. That was also something Ha-won asked her to do. Ha-won saw a picture of dishes for sale on Jae-soo's online account, and later saw Jae-soo carrying the beautifully packaged dishes, slowly walking down the slope. Seo-woo carefully remembered this beautiful and elegant woman. Late at night, when Seo-woo wasn't around, Ha-won would often go into the recording studio alone, trying to improve the device. Early the next morning, seeing the messy studio full of drafts, Seo-woo was extremely surprised. Finally, one morning, she caught Ha-won in the recording studio. Ha-won explained that he would use the recording studio until 4 a.m. every night. So, Seo-woo reminded Ha-won to clean up the recording studio before she arrived in the future. While working at the farm, Soon-ho asked Seo-woo to find recordings of Jae-soo. Seo-woo knew the reason, and Soon-ho could only explain that someone missed Jae-soo and wanted to hear her voice. When the farm was free, Seo-woo would talk to herself in the wooden room she had accidentally walked into. She didn't understand what kind of relationship the mysterious man and Jae-soo had. Just then, a sound from the device in the corner piped up, answering Seo-woo with the story between herself and Jae-soo from years ago in Norway, the country on the northern border. Ha-won and Jae-soo had met abroad. They played together, read poetry, accompanied each other, and consoled each other in a cold world. After listening, Seo-woo became curious about where the storytelling sound was coming from. She searched the entire room, but still couldn't find it. A shadowy figure returned to the recording studio. Seo-woo asked Ha-won if recording someone's voice was normal. Ha-won softly said that, in his opinion, recording and preserving photos were both ways to express longing. These words made it hard for Seo-woo to sleep. She listened to the voice her mother had left on her cell phone when she was still alive. Gradually, Seo Woo seemed to begin to understand the connection between recording and remembering someone. The next day, Seo Woo went to the coffee shop to meet Jae-soo, lying that she wanted to order more of Jae-soo's dishes. While they were talking, Jae-soo inadvertently revealed a prescription for mental health treatment. Seo Woo, seeing this, immediately picked up the prescription and handed it to Jae-soo, as if nothing had happened, comforting her by saying that she herself had also been to the mental health department. Hearing Seo Woo's words of comfort, Jae-soo began to pour out her heart to the woman in front of her. To her, seeing a psychiatrist was as normal as having a cold. After receiving counseling, she decided to find something to do, which is why she started selling dishes. While they were talking, Soon-ho sent an email asking Seo Woo to record Jae-soo's voice according to a realistic script, a draft that Ha-won had also sent. Just after sending the email, Ha-won happened to approach the coffee shop, looking at his first love, who was still as elegant and beautiful as before. Ha-won's eyes were filled with an unmistakable warmth. After the two women left, Ha-won went to the coffee shop, sitting in the same spot where Jae-soo had just been sitting, staring at the ceiling covered in tree shadows that Jae-soo had been looking at. Seo Woo took Jae-soo to the recording studio, but before she could even take out the script, Jae-soo recited those familiar lines of poetry. It was the poem that she and Ha-won had read together when they were in Norway. After the recording was finished, Seo Woo gave Jae-soo the delivery address for the dishes. Seeing this address, Jae-soo asked Seo Woo if Ha-won had requested the recording, because it was a place that only she and Ha-won knew. When she learned that the person at that address was the owner of the recording studio, Jae-soo apologized to Seo Woo. Watching Jae-soo leave sadly, Seo Woo suddenly realized that Jae-soo was right. The person directing her to record was definitely Ha-won. But Seo Woo had no idea that the man who came to the recording studio every morning was Ha-won, only knowing him as Mr. Morning. Jae-soo went home, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. In reality, she was married. Her husband was a famous pianist, but unfortunately, their married life didn't seem to be happy. Coincidentally, her husband often went to the recording studio where Seo Woo worked to practice the piano. Listening to the man's melodious music, Seo Woo decided to help Jae-soo and Ha-won meet. Under Seo Woo's arrangement, Ha-won came to the coffee shop, but seeing her first love, Jae-soo hurriedly turned away. On the phone, Jae-soo frankly told Seo Woo that she had a reason why she couldn't meet Ha-won. Seo Woo stood behind, watching Ha-won approach Jae-soo. When Ha-won reached out to touch her, Seo Woo hurriedly reminded her not to turn around and to run. Hearing this, Jae-soo ignored her long-lost first love and ran away quickly. Watching the back of his first love leaving, Ha-won could only stand there and sigh. When Ha-won left, Seo Woo followed him, wanting to see who Ha-won really was. But after a while, she received a call from Jae-soo. Jae-soo blamed her for acting on her own and revealed the reason why she couldn't meet Ha-won. It turned out that years ago, during their last phone call, Ha-won had told Jae-soo, "If life isn't joyful, come find me." For many years, Jae-soo's life hadn't been happy, but her pride wouldn't allow her to ask her first love for help. To Jae-soo, Ha-won represented the best things that existed in her heart. Seeing Jae-soo again after a long separation, Ha-won's heart couldn't help but flutter. Years ago, because of one phone call from Jae-soo, Ha-won had dropped out of school and flown from the United States back to Korea. At that time, Jae-soo discovered that a house in Korea was a typical house of the country, also the place where Jae-soo had dreamed of living with Ha-won, and that was the house Ha-won bought, using it as the receiving address for the dishes they had ordered together many years ago. Ha-won took Jae-soo to a mountainous region. The scenery of this mountainous area was as beautiful as a poem they had once read. It was also in this place that Jae-soo told Ha-won that she was getting married. That night, Seo Woo met Mr. Morning again. At this point, she still didn't know that Mr. Morning was Ha-won, the lover, her deep first love, who had been abandoned. While eating, Seo Woo expressed sympathy for Ha-won, not understanding what motivated him to persistently love his first love unilaterally for 10 years after breaking up. Ha-won said that if the other person was the entire focus of your life, perhaps just one sentence from that person could be the motivation to keep living. Ha Won's words made Seo Woo a little sad. For many years, she had also hoped that friends and colleagues would say to her, "Please stay," a short sentence that could give her more courage to live, but this wish had never come true. That night, remembering Seo Woo's words, Ha Won mustered the courage to call Jae-soo, asking if she was happy. Actually, yesterday, seeing Jae-soo avoid him, Ha Won had guessed that her current life wasn't good, but unfortunately, when facing the person she once loved, Jae-soo wasn't willing to answer, hoping Ha Won would call again sometime. Ha Won knew that sometime was a long way off, so he insisted on calling again in 20 minutes. During the 20-minute wait, Jae-soo recalled the last time she had met Ha Won 10 years ago, thinking about the harsh words she had said to him about her getting married. Although it was very painful, Ha Won still didn't give up on his love for Jae-soo, saying that he would continue to love Jae-soo for the rest of his life without interfering in her life. Ha Won had kept this promise of love for 10 years. 20 minutes passed, and Ha Won called again, admitting that he had orchestrated the recording of Jae-soo's voice, only hoping that she would contact him when she was unhappy. Facing her unforgettable first love, Jae-soo said that she was now moderately sad and moderately happy. After that, the two began to contact each other frequently. Jae-soo would tell him that she was doing laundry, and Ha Won would use wind, rain, sunrise, and sunset to convey his wishes to Jae-soo, hoping she would find happiness. In the evening, Seo Woo spoke with her husband, a pianist, hoping that In Wook could apologize to Ha Won in a timely manner, but her husband still evaded, not wanting to face the painful past that had tormented him for so many years. After speaking, In Wook frantically ran downstairs, seemingly having an unresolved issue with his wife and Ha Won. That afternoon, Seo Woo went to the coffee shop and met Ha Won again. Ha Won seemed to be in a mood, saying that he wouldn't be coming to the recording studio anymore. In front of Mr. Morning, Seo Woo showed empathy, mentioning that Ha Won couldn't be with Jae-soo. She said she just wanted to stand from afar and look at Ha Won, not hoping Ha Won would see the ache in her heart. On the same day, Jae-soo called, wanting to go back to Norway with Ha Won. Ha Won didn't hesitate at all and immediately agreed happily. But upon seeing the potted plant her husband had given Jae-soo, she hesitated slightly, changing her mind and saying she needed more time to think. Ha Won didn't give Jae-soo a chance to regret it, quickly arranging to meet the next day. Ha Won arrived at the coffee shop early, waiting for a long time, but Jae-soo never showed up. He was unaware that Jae-soo had gone to the recording studio, revealing to Seo Woo that she planned to leave alone. Under Seo Woo's gentle comfort, Jae-soo poured out her heart. It turned out that Jae-soo's husband had made some kind of mistake towards her, a mistake that had completely shattered her world. Seeing Jae-soo trying to hold back tears, Seo Woo said softly, "Anyone can make mistakes, even nature does, like how Seo Woo's parents died in a forest fire years ago." Hearing the girl who had lost both parents offering her comforting words, Jae-soo felt as though a burden had been lifted from her heart. For some reason, every time she talked to Seo Woo, Jae-soo felt much lighter. Jae-soo noticed the draft on the table, which contained poems she and Ha Won had once read. She heard that the draft was left by Mr. Morning. Jae-soo realized that the Mr. Morning Seo Woo mentioned was Ha Won. After saying goodbye to Seo Woo, Jae-soo set off alone for Norway. At this time, Ha Won was still sitting at the coffee shop, anxiously waiting. A few hours later, Jae-soo called Seo Woo, saying she had arrived in Norway, asking Seo Woo to go to the coffee shop and tell Ha Won not to wait anymore, while also hinting that Seo Woo had met Ha Won. Combining Jae-soo's hint with Mr. Morning's recent words, Seo Woo also understood that this strange visitor was Ha Won. In Norway, near the northern border, Jae-soo arrived at the wooden cabin in the woods, where she used to play with Ha Won. Unfortunately, a blizzard hit that day, and she was trapped inside, leaving her no choice but to call Seo Woo for comfort, huddling in a corner. She heard soothing music coming from the other end of the phone. To help Jae-soo hear it better, Seo Woo turned up the music. However, a moment later, the sound of an avalanche echoed from the other end of the line. On the verge of death, Jae-soo hummed the notes and verses Ha Won had taught her. In a blur, the young Ha Won seemed to flash past the window. It was Jae-soo's most beautiful memory under the moonlight. Ha Won couldn't wait for his first love, and he was very sad. Now he won't wait for you anymore. At this time, the ice and snow collapsed, and in Seo Woo's desperate screams, Jai-soo was forever buried in the white snow that she and Ha-won had once created memories in. Hearing the avalanche on the other end, Seo Woo could only cry helplessly. She began to blame Soon-ho, believing that Soon-ho shouldn't have asked her to buy dishes in the first place, and Ha-won shouldn't have dragged her into this painful and hopeless love. Soon-ho comforted her while also telling her not to blame Ha-won, because at this moment, Ha-won was 100 or 1,000 times more heartbroken than Seo Woo. Seo Woo went to the address to pick up the dishes and saw Ha-won sitting and crying alone, his face full of contemplation and sadness. The delivery person placed a package with Jai-soo's name on it at the door. Seeing this, Seo Woo went to knock on the door, then quickly left. The package seemed to contain Jai-soo's ashes. In an instant, the pain in Ha-won's heart poured out. Early in the morning, Seo Woo saw Ha-won go to the recording studio alone, trying to open the computer that she had set a password for. Not long after, Ha-won sent a message, saying he was looking for Jai-soo's recording file and wanted to ask for her computer password. In order for Ha-won to accept the fact that his first love was gone, Seo Woo returned to the recording studio and deleted all of Jai-soo's recording files. But when she woke up the next morning, she saw Ha-won leading several people to restore the deleted files. Seeing Ha-won being so stubborn, Seo Woo asked an employee to convey to him, "Jai-soo is gone, don't stubbornly look for her voice anymore." Ha-won ignored Seo Woo's reminder and continued to work on restoring the recording. Seo Woo couldn't understand, they hadn't seen each other in several years, yet they still had such deep love and longing for each other. After Jai-soo passed away, her husband In-wook was also very heartbroken. To relieve his emotions, In-wook went to the recording studio, pouring all of his sadness into the piano. After finishing a piece, In-wook still couldn't heal. He screamed in despair after his wife passed away, losing his composure and making many mistakes while performing. The director realized the cause and patiently listened to In-wook's troubles. It turned out that In-wook knew his wife had another man in her heart. This was something he couldn't bear. Seo Woo couldn't forget Jai-soo either. Opening her social media, she saw the black and white photo Jai-soo had taken before she died. It was Jai-soo's last glimpse of everyday life. Following these photos, Seo Woo went to the last places Jai-soo had been. She discovered that every place was connected to Ha-won, and that Ha-won was also retracing the path and revisiting the scenes related to his first love. The next day, Seo Woo went to take shelter from the rain and inadvertently ended up at Ha-won's company. Seeing the company playing an advertisement for an AI smart device, combined with Ha-won's previous words, she realized why Ha-won wanted Jai-soo's voice. Ha-won saw Seo Woo through the glass window of the company hallway. Beyond the window, Seo Woo seemed to be in snowy Norway. This scene reminded Ha-won of his memories with Jai-soo. A moment later, it started to rain outside, and Ha-won came out to shield Seo Woo with an umbrella. Seo Woo guessed that the voice of Ha-won she had heard at the farm earlier was a product of artificial intelligence. Ha-won showed Seo Woo the smart device. Through the collection of Jai-soo's voice, the device's voice was no longer Ha-won's, but Jai-soo's, turning it into a Jai-soo device. Seo Woo understood that Ha-won intended to digitize Jai-soo's life, then add her voice so that the device could replace Jai-soo in conversations with him. Ha-won began to dream, if it's thanks to Seo Woo, Jai-soo and I can meet again. When that time comes, what will Jai-soo say to me? Seo Woo believed that if the two really met, Jai-soo would pour out all the pain in her heart. Seo Woo then mentioned Jai-soo's joy when she went to Norway that day. Hearing Seo Woo's incredibly comforting words, Ha-won silently shed tears, seemingly finding some relief from Jai-soo's passing. Before leaving, Ha-won lent Seo Woo the Jai-soo device and asked, "Did Jai-soo bring anything with her when she went to the recording studio for the last time?" At this moment, Seo Woo remembered that Jai-soo had given her a potted plant that day. She opened the wrapping paper around the potted plant and saw a photograph inside. The photo was of the mountain that Jai-soo and Ha-won had seen together 10 years ago. This mountain was a poetic place in their dreams. Jai-soo gave the photo to Seo Woo, the girl with whom she had a special connection, hoping she would keep it safe. Once, she texted Seo Woo asking about the background of a photo on Jai-soo's personal page. Coincidentally, Seo Woo was there as well. It was the slope where Jai-soo first brought dishes to Seo Woo. Ha-won immediately ran there, and was also curious about where Seo Woo lived. After Seo Woo revealed her address, she suddenly hid to the side like a thief. Not far away, the family friend who lived in the same neighborhood as Seo Woo was walking over. Seeing this, Ha-won also quickly stepped aside, using his body to shield Seo Woo. Looking at Ha-won standing in front of her, Seo Woo suddenly felt a flutter in her heart. After the friend passed by, Ha-won curiously asked what Jai-soo was wearing that day. Seo Woo honestly answered. She just didn't understand why Ha-won was asking about even the smallest details. This was how Ha-won remembered Jai-soo. For him, remembering Jai-soo's voice, smile, appearance, and clothes was all a part of his longing. In the quiet night, the dim streetlights shone brightly on the small slope. Ha-won sat down, looking ahead, imagining the graceful appearance of Jai-soo walking toward him. Seo Woo sat on the bench beside him, watching the man longing for the girl he couldn't see again. The next day, in the cafe, Ha-won asked Seo Woo to sit beside him. Following Ha-won's gaze, Seo Woo saw the shadows of the trees and the sunlight shining on the ceiling. It was the scene that Ha-won and Jai-soo had once watched together. Ha-won's devotion to his first love was deeply engraved in Seo Woo's heart. Back in the recording studio, Seo Woo told the Jai-soo device that she liked watching Ha-won. She shared her feelings and thoughts about him. Unexpectedly, the device responded, "That's unrequited love." Seo Woo couldn't believe her ears. Just then, Soon-ho walked in, and Seo Woo, afraid her secret would be exposed, quickly turned off the device. The next day, Seo Woo told Ha-won about the device talking to her. Ha-won told her to try and remember what situation the Jai-soo device's voice appeared in. This was related to the device's trigger point. Seo Woo couldn't bring herself to admit her secret crush on Ha-won, so in front of him, she could only talk about other topics. When she used the device again, it quickly reacted, using Jai-soo's voice to talk to Seo Woo about a story Seo Woo had previously shared with Jai-soo. It was a sad story about how Seo Woo's parents had died in a forest fire years ago. After it happened, she harbored resentment and blame. But as time passed, now she just wanted to live her life well. Like Seo Woo said, nature sometimes makes mistakes, and these mistakes are really nothing compared to life itself. Seo Woo's comforting words touched Ha-won. Ha-won realized that the girl in front of him had an optimism and openness that he lacked. Seo Woo was secretly in love with Ha-won, and when she was sad, just thinking of Ha-won made her expression brighten up. Perhaps that's what unrequited love feels like, someone quietly happy. At that moment, Ha-won sent her a picture of a mountain, the same mountain he used to admire with Jai-soo, and also Seo Woo's hometown. Years ago, to search for memories of Jai-soo, Ha-won had stayed on this mountain for a short time, and this photo was taken back then. After seeing the familiar mountain photo, Seo Woo ran to thank Ha-won. Since her parents died in the forest fire, she hadn't returned to that painful land for many years. To repay him, Seo Woo said that if Ha-won ever wanted to talk to the Jai-soo device in the future, she could help him anytime. Because of Seo Woo's promise, Ha-won came to the recording studio early the next morning, saying he wanted to talk to the device. Seo Woo got off work in the evening, and Ha-won came again. Besides talking to the device in the recording studio, Seo Woo also talked to Ha-won about herself, her parents, and her past on the way home. Ha-won also recounted his trip up the mountain. On the mountain was the village where Seo Woo's family lived, the most peaceful and beautiful village in Ha-won's imagination. The bus arrived at the stop, and Ha-won followed Seo Woo onto the bus. On the bus, Seo Woo's eyes unconsciously drifted towards him as he sat quietly. After getting off the bus, Ha-won noticed the hill where Seo Woo lived. It said that living in a place with a panoramic view brings good luck. After hearing this, Seo Woo intently looked at the overpass that Jai-soo had photographed and posted on social media, carefully examining the angles, all from a high vantage point. Seeing Seo Woo's captivated expression, Ha-won couldn't help but smile slightly. He believed that Seo Woo's appearance between him and Jai-soo might not be a coincidence. Ha-won wanted to find the overpass in the photo, and Seo Woo was overjoyed to receive the message, immediately saving Ha-won's contact information. Late at night, he traced and imagined the footsteps of his first love. Ha-won found the overpass. Seo Woo also followed him there, watching Ha-won take pictures of the scene under the overpass, and then followed Ha-won back to the house he had promised to share with Jae-soo. At this time, Seo Woo took out the Jae-soo device and talked to Jae-soo with Ha-won. The device, thinking Seo Woo was alone, repeated the conversation between itself and Seo Woo in the recording studio that day. Seeing that Jae-soo was about to reveal that she had a secret crush on Ha-won, Seo Woo quickly tried to take Ha-won's headphones off. Unexpectedly, Ha-won had already taken the headphones off, broadcasting Jae-soo's words loudly. Hearing Jae-soo reveal the secret that Seo Woo liked him, under the questioning of the Jae-soo device, Seo Woo had no choice but to admit that she really liked Ha-won. But at the same time, Seo Woo also said that she didn't hope Ha-won would find out about it, just like Ha-won didn't know how much Jae-soo cherished him. After saying this, Seo Woo ran out in embarrassment. Ha-won said he wanted to take her home and pressed her for answers. Seo Woo, flustered and embarrassed, told Ha-won not to ask anything else. After Seo Woo left, Ha-won, distracted, took the Jae-soo device and ran to the recording studio, wanting to talk to her by recounting things from the past, but Jae-soo barely reacted to Ha-won. Ha-won couldn't find the device's trigger point. The next morning, seeing Ha-won, Seo Woo grabbed the device and ran away. Then, she ran to the house that Jae-soo and Ha-won had promised to share, describing the layout and furniture in the house to her. After learning that the house was empty and had almost no decorations, Jae-soo had Seo Woo find some household items that were suitable for Ha-won. In the evening, Seo Woo returned the device to Ha-won and sent him photos of the household appliances that she and the Jae-soo device had chosen together. She told Ha-won that he absolutely had to buy them, because that was the only way Jae-soo would agree to her request. To thank Ha-won, she promised to do anything Seo Woo wanted. Seo Woo seized the opportunity and hoped that Ha-won could answer her phone calls at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. every day. Ha-won happily agreed, brought Seo Woo into the house, and gently thanked her. He was very grateful to Seo Woo for spending the past time with him searching for Jae-soo's traces. At 2 a.m., Seo Woo hesitated for a moment and then called Ha-won. Ha-won quickly picked up. Gradually, these early morning phone calls became an unspoken understanding between the two. On the other side, her husband In Wook was still unable to escape the pain of losing his wife. His colleagues thought that Jae-soo went on a solo trip abroad, and even criticized her for leaving her husband alone at home, saying that this situation could only be explained by his wife having another man on the side. After hearing this, In Wook flew into a rage. He found the phone number his wife left on a piece of paper in the house, and hesitated whether or not to contact the person. In Wook began to suspect that his wife had gone to Norway in spite of the heavy snow because of this man. In the morning, In Wook went to the recording studio and saw Ha-won sleeping inside. At that time, he still didn't know that Ha-won was the man his wife longed for day and night. To confirm, In Wook went to the coffee shop and asked the owner to call the phone number on the paper, saying that he only needed to confirm the person's gender. But after hesitating for a while, In Wook felt uneasy again and took back the paper. He was very afraid of receiving an answer he didn't want to face. To thank her for helping Ha-won buy things, the Jae-soo device agreed with Seo Woo to talk to Ha-won tonight. For this conversation, Ha-won helped Seo Woo put on headphones to block out the noise so she could listen carefully to what Jae-soo said. Jae-soo told Seo Woo that the conversation would take place on the overpass. After thanking Seo Woo, Ha-won went to the overpass, put on his headphones, and then continuously called out Jae-soo's name. But for a long time, the device didn't respond. Ha-won's disappointment and sadness were all seen by Seo Woo standing to the side, and she felt very heartbroken. So she secretly prayed, hoping Jae-soo could talk to Ha-won. Perhaps Seo Woo's prayer worked, and the Jae-soo device finally responded. Seeing that Ha-won had become happy again, the worry on Seo Woo's face also became relieved. Ha-won stood on the bridge and described the scene in front of him to Jae-soo. Jae-soo told Ha-won to find Seo Woo, and also asked him what he thought about knowing that Seo Woo liked him. Ha-won hesitated, unable to answer. Jae-soo sensed that Ha-won had some feelings. After leaving the overpass, Ha-won went to the memorial house, met Seo Woo, and still listened to one earphone with Seo Woo, taking pictures of the newly bought interior according to Jae-soo's instructions. After taking the pictures, the two followed Jai-soo's instructions again, stood next to each other on the overpass, took pictures of the sunset, and talked to Jai-soo about the past that was a little sad. During the conversation, Seo-woo learned that the Jai-soo device didn't know why Jai-soo sold the dishes, nor did it know that Jai-soo had an accident in Norway. Seo-woo hoped that they wouldn't talk about these things with the Jai-soo device anymore, and that they wouldn't talk to Jai-soo from now on. According to Seo-woo, Jai-soo had passed away, and continuing to ask about the sad things in the past was of no use anymore. But Ha-won thought that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. During the argument, Ha-won said hurtful words, saying that unrequited love is also a stubborn obsession that can't be obtained. These words hurt Seo-woo. Ha-won realized it, and was about to comfort her, but Seo-woo angrily left. At 2 a.m. that night, Ha-won called Seo-woo, expressing his feelings of the past years. The sentence he heard the most was advising him to give up on his first love. But for him, this feeling was too deep to be easily given up. Seo-woo was moved and revealed the reason Jai-soo sold the dishes. She heard that Jai-soo's husband had made a mistake, and because she was so heartbroken, Jai-soo had locked herself in the house for many years, and then decided to do something, so she started selling dishes. That's all she knew. Seo-woo still advised Ha-won not to ask why Jai-soo was sad anymore. If everything was over, then let it fade away. The next day, while searching for Jai-soo, Seo-woo inadvertently ended up at someone's house. There, she discovered a large collection of the dishes that Jai-soo had sold. It was then that she realized it was Ha-won's home. Alone, Seo-woo interacted with Jai-soo's device. As she spoke, the curtains in the room slowly began to open. Then, the music stopped. Seo-woo understood that everything in this place was connected to Jai-soo. Overwhelmed, she called Ha-won, breaking down in tears, and pleaded with him to end his long, unrequited love. For Seo-woo, her own unrequited love had at least a 1% chance of success, because Ha-won was still alive. But for Ha-won, even that slim opportunity was gone. To persuade Ha-won to give up, Seo-woo promised that she would give up her one-sided love for him first. Under the setting sun, contemplating Seo-woo's words and recalling memories of Jai-soo, Ha-won went to an overpass, spoke to Jai-soo's device, softly calling her name as he always had, and then quietly turned it off. He had decided to follow Seo-woo's advice, wanting to learn how to forget his hopeless first love. After switching off the device, Ha-won contacted Soon-ho, planning to spend the night at the recording studio. Upon hearing this, Seo-woo quietly prepared a cushion on the sofa and turned on gentle piano music, hoping Ha-won could release his fatigue and get a good night's sleep. The following day, his close friend was still testing the response points of Jai-soo's device. Ha-won requested that his friend delete all the experimental data. He was now fully committed to letting go of his hopeless illusion. Having abandoned his years-long unrequited love, Ha-won's gaze shifted towards Seo-woo. One afternoon, he came to the recording studio and said that he was following Seo-woo's advice, hoping that she wouldn't give up on her own 1% chance of unrequited love. Though she didn't fully grasp Ha-won's true feelings, Seo-woo was determined to pursue and nurture that 1% possibility. On the other side, due to the pain and suspicion regarding his wife, In-wook plummeted to the depths of his emotions while performing. To help In-wook, Soon-ho went to the practice room and promised to let him use his private recording studio and would have the sound engineer Seo-woo come help at that time. A few days later, In-wook agreed to record an album with Seo-woo. On the day of recording, Seo-woo sent a message to In-wook, expressing her gratitude. However, In-wook noticed that Seo-woo's phone number was identical to the number his wife had left before her death. Consequently, In-wook suspected that Seo-woo was involved in his wife's betrayal. Therefore, during the recording session, In-wook found another sound engineer to work with. Seo-woo was somewhat saddened but didn't blame In-wook. Soon-ho, however, was furious. He confronted In-wook, demanding an explanation to both him and Seo-woo. Afterward, In-wook invited Soon-ho for drinks. During that time, he took the opportunity to inquire about Seo-woo. When he learned that Seo-woo had simply helped Soon-ho buy dishes from Jai-soo, In-wook burst out laughing, realizing Seo-woo was just a dish buyer for his wife. After failing to collaborate with In-wook, Seo Woo inadvertently wandered to Ha-won's memorial house and the bridge where Ha-won repeatedly watched the sunset. It seemed that unconsciously, her life's trajectory revolved entirely around Ha-won. At the same time, Ha-won was also thinking about Seo Woo. And after sunset, he and Seo Woo met on an overpass, and then went together to the cafe they had once frequented. The cafe owner mistakenly believed that Seo Woo was the girl Ha-won had been waiting for all this time. After realizing his mistake, the owner comforted him, believing that Ha-won would eventually find the person he longed for. Ha-won, hearing this, involuntarily burst into tears. Seo Woo didn't stop him. She knew very well that the pain that had been suppressed in Ha-won's heart was finally being released. The moment he wiped away his tears, Ha-won was officially and completely letting go of the past. Having regained his composure, Ha-won awkwardly waved his hand at a taxi that hadn't arrived yet to ease his embarrassment. Seo Woo smiled, seemingly seeing right through Ha-won's feelings, and called the man in front of her Ha-won, no longer referring to him as Mr. Morning. Ha-won mentioned that Mr. Morning wouldn't be coming anymore, and asked Seo Woo if she wanted to say anything to him. Seo Woo couldn't help but embrace Ha-won. "Mr. Morning, be careful on your way back." The two of them got into a taxi together. In the car, Ha-won gave Seo Woo one of his earphones and played a piano piece. It was the same piece Seo Woo had played in the recording studio when they first met. It was then that Seo Woo realized the man standing below, listening, was Ha-won all along. Thinking about that fateful first encounter, Seo Woo was filled with joy. As they were about to reach Seo Woo's house, Ha-won naturally went inside with her, and once again, he poured out his heart. Ha-won told Seo Woo that he had destroyed Jae-soo's device. He explained that previously, whenever he thought of Jae-soo, he felt happiness and comfort. But now, the memories of Jae-soo were only filled with pain. After saying this, Ha-won looked at Seo Woo with gentle eyes. "It's good to be able to see when you're hurting." Seo Woo didn't understand the meaning of Ha-won's words. Then, he said he hoped Seo Woo could expand a portion of her one-sided love for him. After Ha-won left, Seo Woo's housemates pulled her into dinner. While everyone was chatting happily, Seo Woo became thoughtful and rushed back to her room to call Ha-won. "I never gave up that 1%. It was true that Seo Woo had never given up her feelings for Ha-won. Ha-won replied gently, "I hope Seo Woo will come around more so I can see her." At this moment, Seo Woo realized that what he wanted to see when he was hurting was her. "I need Seo Woo, can you stay by my side?" After confirming his feelings for Seo Woo, Ha-won bought all the furniture that Seo Woo had photographed before and had it delivered to his house. Arriving at the recording studio where Seo Woo worked, Ha-won noticed she had a habit of putting her bare feet on the work chair. Ha-won quietly sent her a message asking if she needed anything. Without waiting for her reply, he said she needed a foot cushion and slippers. Furthermore, Ha-won mentioned Seo Woo's catchphrase, "I really want everyone to hear it too." Hearing this, Seo Woo felt a little melancholic. The everyone she was referring to was her parents. Prompted by Ha-won's reminder, Seo Woo mustered up her courage to prepare to return to that painful land. But upon arriving at the bus station, she quickly left, unable to face her painful past. Knowing Seo Woo wasn't going, Ha-won still gently praised her. "Making it to the bus station is already very brave." Seo Woo said she had prepared many piano recordings for her parents. When listening to them with Ha-won, she realized that he also understood a lot about piano, because his deceased mother had also been a piano teacher. For Ha-won, moving on from the pain of the past wouldn't happen overnight. Seo Woo gently comforted him, "If you need anything at any time, I'll still be by your side." Returning to the recording studio, Seo Woo saw that Ha-won had bought her a beautiful foot cushion and adorable socks. The next day, Seo Woo brought her recording equipment, preparing to have Ha-won showcase his talents by recording a piano piece. Ha-won played attentively, but his not-so-skilled playing made Seo Woo giggle. The next day, Seo Woo once again mustered the courage to go to the bus station, buying a ticket to return to her hometown. After getting on the bus, remembering her painful past, she was about to get off. At this moment, Ha-won sent a message, wishing her a safe trip. Just a short sentence, but it gave Seo Woo more strength, and so Seo Woo began her journey back home. Unbeknownst to her, Ha-won was driving behind, watching over her. After arriving, Seo Woo tried to overcome the pain in her memories, walking slowly toward her childhood home. Returning after so many years, the old house was still a chaotic mess from the fire. Seo Woo wiped away her tears and sat in front of the house, playing the piano piece she'd recorded on her phone, telling her parents that she was doing okay. As the music washed over her, visions of her parents when they were still alive appeared in her mind. Suppressing her tears, she stood up and saw Ha-won standing behind her, waiting. As Ha-won stepped forward to offer words of comfort, Seo Woo gradually dried her tears and got into Ha-won's car. Under the setting sun, bidding farewell to her hometown full of memories, making this her last return, Ha-won told Seo Woo that new furniture had been delivered to his place, and he couldn't manage to move it all by himself. Seo Woo decided to stay and help Ha-won. That evening, the two of them hauled a sofa mattress together and then tidied up the bedroom and living room. After finishing the work, Seo Woo unintentionally curled up under a blanket and fell asleep. Ha-won sat on the sofa, gazing at Seo Woo with a tender look. The next morning, realizing she had fallen asleep at Ha-won's house, Seo Woo quietly slipped away. Ha-won woke up, saw the completely new furniture and arrangements, and felt incredibly content. But at the same time, a crisis was approaching. After learning that Soon-ho was a gardener, In-wook asked him how to handle the dying potted plants in his house. During their conversation, Soon-ho inadvertently mentioned that Seo Woo had also received an identical potted plant. In his heart, In-wook realized that his wife had given Seo Woo the plant he had bought. This action reignited In-wook's suspicions of Seo Woo. He decided to go to the recording studio to confirm his suspicion. Sure enough, he found that the potted plant Seo Woo had in the recording studio was the very one he had given his wife. Thinking about how easily his wife had discarded the gift he'd given her, In-wook felt both pain and resentment. In the afternoon, Soon-ho went to In-wook's house to take away the nearly dead plants, while also noticing that In-wook seemed off. In-wook was starting to worry that his wife had told Seo Woo the secret of how he had hurt others. Now, the time for his performance was approaching. Thinking of Seo Woo as his recording engineer, In-wook felt even more uneasy. To restore In-wook's composure, Soon-ho took the man's hand and gently comforted him. If you can't go on anymore, just give up the piano after the performance. It's not the end of the world. With Soon-ho's encouragement, In-wook did his best to suppress the anxiety and fear in his heart, and ultimately gave a brilliant performance. After the performance ended, In-wook was still in a bad state. Looking at the potted plant in the recording studio, In-wook couldn't help but ask Seo Woo, "Who gave you this plant?" Seo Woo didn't know how to explain the relationship between herself and Jae-soo, so she simply said a friend gave it to her. But Seo Woo was clearly unsatisfied with this definition of friend. Late at night, Ha-won went to the recording studio. Seo Woo was sitting at her desk, wearing the cute socks that he had bought, and felt someone behind her. Seo Woo happily turned around. She loved the soft blanket so much that she could fall asleep anytime at Ha-won's house. After hearing this, Ha-won blurted out, "Let's sleep together next time." Realizing that he had spoken a bit out of turn, the two awkwardly looked at each other and smiled. At this moment, In-wook called Seo Woo, wanting to come to the recording studio to review his performance from today. Seo Woo agreed and returned to the recording studio, playing the music for In-wook. In-wook didn't mention that Seo Woo was the one giving him a sense of unease, but wanted to try to escape that feeling by immersing himself in the world of music. Seo Woo had to both adjust the recording for In-wook and run back and forth up and down the stairs to talk to Ha-won. After In-wook's performance ended, Seo Woo and Ha-won walked under the quiet streetlights, expressing their feelings. For Seo Woo, no matter how long it took, she was willing to be the one by Ha-won's side. Ha-won felt the same way. He would be the one by her side. That night, Ha-won slept soundly, but he still didn't understand why he had been having some unexpected changes lately, such as starting to exercise and learning to play table tennis. Returning to the memorial house in the evening, Ha-won found Seo Woo curled up asleep with a blanket in the room. Half dreaming, she answered a phone call, and when she opened her eyes, she was surprised to see Ha-won standing there looking at her. Seo Woo smiled sheepishly, wanting to quickly leave. Recently, her roommate had been heartbroken, and In-wook needed her support while practicing piano. Ha-won reminded Seo Woo that In-wook was a married man, Seo Woo playfully asked Ha-won how much of his thoughts she occupied, teasing if it had increased from 1% to 25%. Hearing these adorable words, Ha-won couldn't help but smile. That evening, Ha-won's mind was filled with thoughts of Seo Woo. He had intended to call her early in the morning, but then he remembered that Seo Woo had said she wanted to be there for her roommate, so he reluctantly refrained. Actually, Seo Woo missed Ha-won a lot, constantly checking her phone to see if he had called. The next day, Soon-ho moved into Ha-won's house. Seo Woo came to help with the move. After entering the house, Seo Woo noticed that Soon-ho had changed the names of all the smart devices to his own name. Listening to Soon-ho talk, Ha-won's face always looked a bit sad whenever the decision to give up Jae-soo was mentioned. While organizing things, Seo Woo noticed that Jae-soo's device was still in Ha-won's drawer, and somehow, she impulsively took it out secretly. Just then, Ha-won sent a text message asking to meet Seo Woo. Recently, Ha-won had been considering developing some kind of smart device. He intended to use this device to create the sensation of holding hands, allowing the living to connect with those who have passed away, to soothe the pain of longing. To confirm the feeling of holding hands, Ha-won asked Seo Woo to close her eyes and gently raised his hand above her palm. The second time he moved his palm, Ha-won, whether intentionally or unintentionally, took Seo Woo's hand. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the car became charged with tension. Ha-won released her hand, and Seo Woo went to do her work, helping in Wook Record at the recording studio. At that moment, Ha-won called. He had realized why he wasn't experiencing insomnia anymore. It was because someone was by his side. "Can you be with me now? I miss you." Because of these words, Seo Woo abandoned the work she was doing and immediately rushed to meet the man of her dreams. But while running down the street, she accidentally dropped Jae-soo's device. When she picked it up, she felt incredibly guilty, so she hurriedly turned back without even seeing Ha-won. Seeing Seo Woo come and then go, Ha-won could only console himself to give her more time. Back at her apartment that evening, Seo Woo confided in her roommate, saying that she always felt like she was stealing a love that rightfully belonged to someone else. Her roommate was curious about the appearance of the man Seo Woo liked, so Seo Woo asked Ha-won to send her a photo. Ha-won rarely took photos, so he had to ask a friend for help. His friend thought Ha-won wanted a passport photo and told him to straighten his shoulders and comb his stray hairs. Afterward, he found out that Seo Woo wanted a selfie. That night, Ha-won sent Seo Woo his first selfie. Looking at Ha-won's adorable appearance, Seo Woo couldn't help but laugh. The next day, Ha-won called and asked to meet Seo Woo. Seo Woo walked for 10 minutes, he drove for 10 minutes, and they finally met at the overpass in between. 10 minutes later, the two arrived together at their familiar overpass. This time, Ha-won didn't hesitate to take Seo Woo's hand, promising to see her again that night. Seo Woo felt conflicted. She both wanted to see Ha-won and felt guilty toward Jae-soo. That evening, under the streetlights at the intersection where they had arranged to meet, Ha-won saw Seo Woo running towards him with roasted sweet potatoes. Although she was a little hesitant, Seo Woo decided to listen to her heart. In Ha-won's memorial house, Seo Woo seemed awkward and flustered, not knowing how to face Ha-won. Ha-won mentioned the roasted sweet potatoes she had brought, and at that moment, she calmed down a bit, sitting down on the sofa with Ha-won to eat the warm sweet potatoes. Seo Woo mentioned playing house, and Ha-won slept comfortably. Ha-won planned to hang a clothesline outside to dry blankets. On the way to take Seo Woo home, Ha-won implied that Seo Woo could come over to sleep anytime. It seemed that she understood what he meant. Ha-won nodded. His meaning was just as Seo Woo was thinking. He wanted to live under the same roof as Seo Woo. The next day, Ha-won bought a small frying pan to keep in the house. Seo Woo also decided to secretly return Jae-soo's device to Ha-won's house. Unexpectedly, as soon as she entered, she saw Ha-won was already there. Ha-won was very happy that Seo Woo had come to visit him. This was the first time he had experienced the feeling of love coming from both sides. "I miss you. I want to hold your hand." Hearing this, Seo Woo ran away, afraid that Ha-won would find out the real reason she came. Because of Ha-won's confession, Seo Woo also decided to face her own heart. That evening, Seo Woo ran to the memorial house carrying a bag, then took out a small frying pan from the bag. This was the unspoken understanding between the two of them. In the evening, Ha-won prepared the bedding, fluffing the mattress and blankets, while Seo-woo drifted off into a peaceful sleep. Ha-won leaned back on the sofa, gazing at the small, lovable girl who had healed the wounds in his heart. Early the next morning, snowflakes danced in the air. Ha-won sat in the living room, watching the snowfall outside the window. Seo-woo, noticing him, came to join him. Gently, Ha-won tucked the blanket around the spring snow, soft and beautiful. They talked about the past, listening to the sound of the falling snow, the space around them quiet and serene. Soon after, Seo-woo's recording sessions were finished. To celebrate, Ha-won personally went into the kitchen and cooked 2 dishes, using the very 2 small frying pans they had bought together. The food was delicious, and Seo-woo ate every last bite. Then, Ha-won tentatively recounted his painful past. It was a story related to his mother. Years ago in Norway, his mother had died in an avalanche. Ever since then, whenever he felt sad, he would hear the sound of falling snow. After listening, Seo-woo gently took Ha-won's hand, hummed a warm song, and rested her head on his shoulder. In that moment, more than words of comfort, these warm gestures were enough to soothe his wounded heart. Seo-woo turned on the device. Jae-soo in the recording studio wanted to talk to her one last time. Just then, In-wook arrived at the recording studio and heard his wife's voice inside. Seo-woo quickly hid the device, lying and saying she was alone in the room. However, hearing his wife's voice, In-wook felt incredibly uneasy. Soon-ho comforted In-wook, saying it was probably just sound coming from the computer. Seeing In-wook's state, Soon-ho hoped he would share the pain in his heart with her. So, In-wook slowly began to reveal his inner feelings. He had previously told his wife a secret. Years ago, In-wook and Ha-won went to the same school. One day, there was a snowstorm in Norway. In-wook inadvertently encountered Ha-won's mother on his way home. At that time, In-wook, being childish, lied and said that Ha-won was heading home, but in reality, Ha-won was sheltering from the snow with his friends at school. Of course, he also didn't tell Soon-ho that the woman in the story was Ha-won's mother, nor did he tell the whole story. He only said that after his wife found out, she couldn't accept it. In his wife's heart, there was only Ha-won. Ha-won had endured his wife's blame for many years. In-wook lived in pain and remorse. But at this moment, after listening, Soon-ho took In-wook's hand and comforted him. This isn't that big of a deal. Soon-ho's comfort caused In-wook to burst into tears, finally releasing the sadness he had held in for so many years. In-wook told Soon-ho that his wife had passed away. Soon-ho was both saddened and hopeful. She had long been attracted to this talented man. To comfort In-wook, Soon-ho went to his house and gave him sparklers as a gift. The moment he opened the gift, In-wook unconsciously smiled. Meanwhile, Ha-won's best friend accidentally discovered a lot of letters at the farm. The sender of the letters was Jae-soo, and the recipient was Soon-ho's grandmother. Among them, there was a letter that said she knew the reason for Ha-won's mother's death. Ha-won, upon hearing this, immediately went to the farm, wanting to find more of Jae-soo's letters, but it seemed like there were no more. In fact, his best friend had secretly hidden one letter. In the letter, Jae-soo said that Ha-won's mother's death was related to her husband. Late at night, Ha-won called Soon-ho's grandmother, wanting to know the reason, but the grandmother stubbornly refused to tell him. Ha-won was still persistent. Now that I know my mother's death wasn't natural, I have to get to the bottom of this. After leaving the farm, Ha-won went to Seo-woo's apartment. Seo-woo wasn't home, and her roommate helped welcome him. The roommate voiced Seo-woo's hesitation about the relationship. Seo-woo worried that her happiness would become someone else's misfortune. Ha-won smiled and said Seo-woo was just overthinking things. That day, Ha-won's best friend brought the letter to Soon-ho. After reading it, Soon-ho didn't know what to do. After hesitating for a while, Soon-ho decided to let Seo-woo read the letter, wanting to ask for her opinion. At this time, Seo-woo finally learned that the death of Ha-won's mother was related to Jae-soo's husband. But Ha-won still doesn't know about this yet. He only knows that Jae-soo seems to know the real reason behind his mother's death. After thinking for a moment, Seo-woo reminds Soon-ho to absolutely not let Ha-won find out about this. For Seo-woo, she doesn't want Ha-won to suffer a second time after learning the truth. After considering it, Ha-won also decides to let the past rest. If Jae-soo sent the letter to Miss Soon-ho instead of him, It also means she didn't want to directly tell him the truth, so he will respect Jae-soo's wishes. Worried about Ha-won, Seo-woo goes to the intersection where they used to meet, wanting to turn on the street light. While Seo-woo is reaching up, struggling to reach it, Ha-won appears behind her and gently embraces her. When she turns around, Ha-won hugs her tightly. Now, for Seo-woo, not seeing Ha-won for a day feels like 3 years. Seo-woo still goes to Ha-won's memorial house. Ha-won wants Seo-woo to come and live there so they won't be lonely anymore. Seo-woo happily agrees and immediately goes back to her apartment to get her things. That night, the apartment is having a gathering, so Seo-woo doesn't want to announce it at that time. When she gets to the car, Seo-woo tries to climb in to talk to Ha-won, but she gets stuck in the seat. Suddenly, Ha-won grabs her hand and pulls her closer, and they finally share their first kiss. Afterward, Seo-woo pulls Ha-won into the rented house, and everyone loves Ha-won. While talking, Ha-won says he wants Seo-woo to move into his house. The sister, who is close to Seo-woo, happily agrees. The next day, Seo-woo packs her things, preparing to move to Ha-won's house. In-wook proactively helps carry her things and drives Soon-ho to Ha-won's house. At this time, he notices the house number, but he doesn't know that Seo-woo's boyfriend lives there. In the evening, Ha-won gets off work early and helps Seo-woo arrange her things. After cleaning up, Seo-woo wears the pajamas her friends gave her and works with Ha-won. This is a scene that Ha-won has imagined for a long time. While Ha-won is savoring his happiness, Soon-ho decides to tell him the truth, sending him a message telling him to meet at the recording studio. Ha-won arrives at the recording studio first. He casually clicks on a video of In-wook playing the piano and unexpectedly sees Jae-soo in the video. In the video, In-wook calls Jae-soo his wife. Ha-won is very shocked. At this time, he begins to suspect that his mother's passing may be related to Jae-soo's husband. When Soon-ho arrives, Ha-won has already left because he couldn't wait. Soon-ho decides to tell him about it later, unaware that Ha-won has decided to go see In-wook to get to the bottom of things. Before clarifying the truth, Ha-won goes to the recording studio and embraces Seo-woo in the dark, saying that he will be quite busy soon, and reminds Seo-woo to take good care of herself. The next day, Ha-won contacts Soon-ho, asking her to arrange a meeting with In-wook. The location is the recording studio. Soon-ho is unaware of anything and happily agrees, and also tells Seo-woo that she hasn't told Ha-won about the letter yet, but will find a suitable day to explain everything, hoping that Ha-won can completely end things with Jae-soo's husband. At this time, Soon-ho doesn't know that Jae-soo's husband, the one who has a grudge against Ha-won, is the man she likes. On the other hand, In-wook remembers Seo-woo mentioning a friend who gave her a potted plant, and that she said the sound effects in the memorial house were very good, realizing that his wife may have been to that house. In-wook curiously tells Seo-woo that he wants to see that house too. Because she doesn't want In-wook and Ha-won to meet, she politely refuses. But after being refused, In-wook contacts Soon-ho, suggesting that he wants to visit Soon-ho's uncle's house. Soon-ho naively immediately agrees. After texting Ha-won for permission, he quickly allows Soon-ho to bring In-wook to the gate of the memorial house. At this time, Seo-woo sees the name of the song In-wook named, which has the name of a mountain, which is the mountain that Jae-soo and Ha-won share a memory of. Recalling In-wook's recent words, Seo-woo now realizes that In-wook is Jae-soo's husband. Thinking of this, she immediately calls Soon-ho, reveals In-wook's identity, and tells Soon-ho to absolutely not bring In-wook to Ha-won's house. Not wanting the man she likes to be hurt, Soon-ho finds a reason to get In-wook to leave. After he's gone, Soon-ho asks In-wook what his wife's name is. In-wook doesn't answer. Seo-woo sends a photo, a picture of Jae-soo and In-wook as a couple that she found in In-wook's music album. Soon-ho sees the photo but doesn't reveal the truth. Instead, she decides to pluck up all her courage and confess her feelings to In-wook. Regarding whether or not to discuss the letter with Ha-won to protect him, Seo-woo remains opposed. Soon-ho, on the other hand, intends to tell Ha-won the truth after In-wook's performance ends. Seo-woo is unhappy with Soon-ho's stance and deliberately mentions Jae-soo's name in front of In-wook. As expected, In-wook's expression noticeably changes. He still can't face the mistake he once made. Meanwhile, a close friend has already discussed the letter with Ha-won. Ha-won confirms his suspicions and becomes convinced that In-wook is connected to his mother. To prevent In-wook's upcoming performance from being affected, Soon-ho specifically reminds In-wook not to come to the recording studio for practice that evening, aiming to prevent In-wook and Ha-won from meeting. Unexpectedly, In-wook misses Soon-ho's reminder and arrives at the recording studio early. Following the sound of the music, Ha-won pushes open the door, and the two finally meet. Ha-won wants to rush inside, but Soon-ho resolutely blocks the doorway, hoping Ha-won will at least wait until after In-wook's piano performance is over. Seeing her grandson, whom she considers family, siding with someone else, Ha-won feels a chill in his heart. Turning away, he leaves, just as Seo-woo returns and witnesses the scene. She runs after him, seeing Ha-won standing under a streetlight, looking mournful, like an animal licking its wounds. Seo-woo rushes to him and embraces him tightly, this silent hug being the only comfort she can offer. Very quickly, the day of In-wook's performance arrives. Soon-ho checks and discovers that all the performance tickets have been sold, but as the performance is about to begin, there isn't a single person in the audience. Seo-woo sees Ha-won enter the auditorium. It turns out Ha-won bought out the entire hall. In-wook walks onto the stage, sees Ha-won, but doesn't intend to stop. He bows his head nervously and sits down to begin playing. Ha-won gets up and sits closer. In-wook feels anxious and uneasy, reluctantly continuing to play, even though he feels very uncomfortable. At the climax of the piece, Ha-won calls out In-wook's name. In-wook is forced to interrupt his performance. Ha-won seriously questions him, asking what exactly happened that day in the snowstorm between him and her mother. Confronted, In-wook finally reveals the past he had hidden for so long. Many years ago, when In-wook was still a teenager, he had met Ha-won's mother during a snowstorm. At the time, In-wook had told what he thought was a harmless lie, saying that Ha-won was on his way home. Because of this lie, Ha-won's mother, worried about her son, had braved the snowstorm to search for him. Tragically, she had died in the snowstorm, and the boots she was carrying were for her son. And Jae-soo knew the truth. Ha-won can't help but shed tears. In-wook finishes the performance and returns to his dressing room, completely broken. To comfort Ha-won, she goes to the memorial house and waits for him. The two embrace tightly. Seo-woo talks about many things that make her happy, like watching the sunset. As for Ha-won, his joy comes from hearing Seo-woo talk about happy things. Besides Seo-woo, Ha-won hums a song whose name he can't remember. Seo-woo happily says that she will definitely find the name of the song and then play it for Ha-won on the piano. Ha-won realizes that Seo-woo has something she wants to say to him. Seo-woo stubbornly shakes her head, while holding Ha-won's hand tightly to encourage him, saying everything will be alright again. Hearing Seo-woo's comforting words, the sadness seems to have lifted from Ha-won's face. Returning home, Ha-won found Soon-ho had already cooked. He also retrieved the hidden letter from the storage room. In the letter, Jae-soo wrote that she had repeatedly witnessed her husband's remorse and pain. She had ultimately decided to forgive the past, choosing to be his support and strength. Reading this heartfelt letter, Ha-won felt a sense of relief wash over him. But that night, Ha-won dreamed of Jae-soo leaving. He ran after her, but a heavy snow was falling, and the figure moving away in the distance was his beloved mother. No matter how much he cried out, she wouldn't turn back. Startled awake, tears streamed down his face. The next day, Ha-won's friend remembered the song he couldn't recall. Seo-woo kept her promise and played it for him. Though her skill wasn't polished, to Ha-won, it was the most beautiful music he'd ever heard. "Seo-woo, I love you," he confessed. Seo-woo, touched by his words, teared up and took Ha-won's hand, expressing her desire to visit Norway. Soon-ho called Ha-won to apologize for the previous day's events. Ha-won didn't hold it against him. In their hearts, they were each other's most important family. Now that the past had come to light, Soon-ho hoped that In-wook and Ha-won could officially meet, set aside their past hatred, and repay any outstanding debts. However, In-wook still harbored a concern, had his wife met with Ha-won after their marriage. In-wook even admitted candidly that avoidance and cowardice were in his nature, and he couldn't change easily. Soon-ho argued that he hadn't tried hard enough. Only with sufficient effort could he leave behind the nightmare of the past. In-wook returned to the recording studio. The new sound engineer mentioned smart devices, explaining that they could contain a person's personality and emotions. In-wook remembered Seo Woo talking to someone in the recording studio that day. A bold idea sparked in his mind. He called Soon-ho to confirm, asking which company had been commissioned to process the audio. Seeing In-wook's persistence, Soon-ho refused to answer. In-wook shifted his focus to Seo Woo, asking if she had Jae-soo's smart device. He wanted to talk to his wife. Seo Woo vehemently denied it. During the struggle, In-wook accidentally knocked over a potted plant that Jae-soo had given to Seo Woo. Seo Woo was somewhat angry at this. In-wook persisted, believing that only her husband could possess the device, reminding Seo Woo that no one could interfere in the matter between Ha-won and his wife. Soon-ho overheard this conversation and told Ha-won. He rushed to the recording studio to find Seo Woo sitting alone, looking sad. Ha-won's peaceful heart ignited with anger once again. He angrily confronted In-wook, saying that In-wook would never understand what he had gone through for so many years. In-wook didn't dare to argue back. Ha-won left Jae-soo's letter behind, warning In-wook not to continue seeking sympathy from Seo Woo. In-wook read the letter, recognizing his wife's sincere feelings. She was willing to be his motivation. In that moment, In-wook broke down in tears under the familiar streetlights. Seo Woo went to embrace Ha-won, acknowledging the many hurts he had endured over the years. Waking up the next morning, Jae-soo suddenly spoke, asking Seo Woo to destroy her. It turned out the device had learned about Jae-soo's death. After arriving at the recording studio, Seo Woo turned on the device, signaling to In-wook to play the piano piece that belonged to him and Jae-soo. In-wook slowly played Jae-soo's favorite song. As he played, In-wook also remembered the memories he had with his wife, longing for the person he could never touch again. After listening to her husband's draft, the Jae-soo device seemed to have no regrets and again asked Seo Woo to destroy her. Now that everything was over, the Jae-soo device thought that it was no longer necessary to exist. Seo Woo agreed, but she couldn't bring herself to make a decision. She went to Ha-won's memorial house, sitting there contemplating. The thought of destroying the Jae-soo device made her feel uneasy, feeling like she was destroying the emotions and hopes that had once existed. Therefore, she hurried away. In front of Ha-won, Ha-won worriedly followed her until he saw Seo Woo sitting on the stone steps looking troubled. Ha-won went over and hugged her, silently using actions to comfort her as Seo Woo had done for him. That night, they slept next to each other. But in the middle of the night, Ha-won woke up and saw Seo Woo sitting by the living room window, listening to music and crying. Ha-won didn't ask any questions, he just silently held his girlfriend in his arms. In Ha-won's embrace, the anxiety in Seo Woo's heart lessened somewhat. The next day, Seo Woo confided her worries to In-wook. She finally understood how painful it was to be caught between Ha-won and Jae-soo. In-wook said to Seo Woo, "If you want to see something clearly, it's best to step away from it temporarily. That way, you can tell if you're caught between them or walking alongside them." After giving Seo Woo advice, In-wook apologized to Soon-ho and asked Soon-ho to convey his apology to Ha-won. In addition, In-wook gave Soon-ho 2 tickets to his performance, hoping that she could still stay at the recording studio in the future. Feeling lighter, In-wook gave his best performance. When the performance ended, In-wook thought he saw his beloved wife in the audience. At that moment, he let go of all the resentments and sorrows of the past. Soon-ho also decided to stay at the recording studio, wanting to learn about music-related knowledge, and told In-wook to live well. Seo Woo went to Ha-won's company, lying that she was at the recording studio. But in reality, looking through the glass door of the hallway, Ha-won saw Seo Woo on the other side, tears welling up in her eyes. Afterward, Seo Woo suggested they not see each other for a while. Ha-won gently told her to imagine she was facing him. Hearing this, Seo Woo looked at the glass in front of her, imagining her boyfriend was there, and told Ha-won to do things that made him happy during the time she wasn't around. Ha-won agreed, telling Seo Woo to touch the back of his neck, each pulse being proof of how much he missed her. After temporarily parting with Seo Woo, Ha-won thought of her every day. In the evenings, he would sit on the steps, gazing blankly in the direction Seo Woo usually went. The images in his head were all memories with Seo Woo. Seo Woo went home, borrowed a hammer from her sister, intending to use it to smash Jae-soo's device. Seeing Seo Woo's clumsy appearance, Her sister comforted and advised her not to agree to destroy it. Her sister hoped she could face each of her choices comfortably. After speaking, her sister took out food, reminding her not to be sad anymore, and to remember that whether it was now or in the future, there were people who loved her. Hearing her sister's warm words and eating delicious food, Seo Woo felt much better. She also decided to reject the request to destroy the device. Jai-soo promised to put it in a place where no one would know. The place she chose was in a potted plant at the gardening museum. The next day, Soon-ho told Seo Woo that Ha-won had gone somewhere, saying that thinking of Seo Woo gave him the courage to do so. The place he went was Norway, where the story began. Ha-won visited his mother's and Jai-soo's graves, caressing the tombstones, and talked about his concerns and longings. Finally, after walking through the dense forest, Ha-won arrived at the house where he had lived with his mother for many years. All the items in the house were still there. Ha-won silently sat in the room, then turned on the music that Seo Woo had recorded, looked up at the ceiling dappled with the shadows of trees, his face filled with a gentle smile of relief. During the days Ha-won was gone, Seo Woo went to the coffee shop and the memorial house every day to wait. One evening, after seeing that Ha-won had hung a clothesline in the yard at the memorial house, Seo Woo couldn't suppress her longing and finally called Ha-won. Ha-won promised to return the next day. The next day, as soon as he returned, Ha-won ran to the memorial house to meet Seo Woo. Seo Woo rubbed her eyes and woke up, happily rushing into Ha-won's arms. At this moment, outside, the shadows of the trees danced, the sunlight shone brightly, and their love bloomed at just the right time.